Hello viewers. And welcome to the part 6 of String and C#.NET tutorial. Our tutorial is about memory optimization of string and string immutability. As a programmer, it is absolutely important to know what is going on in the memory while you are writing your code. Regardless you are working with strings or other collections. Just assume how a programmer can discuss or understand performance issue when he or she has no idea how memory responds to the code he or she writing. We have been in our previous videos naming memory and string immutability. But now we will look some details and I will show some examples which give you clear idea about two terms. That is, interning and immutability. Both the terms are related to strings. Let's first talk about interning. Interning is basically memory optimization. Let me show you with the help of example, what interning is. I am initializing two string objects here. Okay, now it's quite logical to think like, we have two reference variables. Both have string objects and in the memory they will look as you see in the picture. You have two string reference variables, two string objects somewhere in the memory heap and your variables pointing to respective memory locations. So that is how normal scenario looks like. I can show you a proof that both the string objects residing into different memory location. Let's check it. I am using a static method object.reference equals, which compares two objects in memory and returns whether they point to the same memory block or not. The result would be Boolean true or false. Let's print the result and run the program. And here you see the result. That is false, and that means they are not sharing the same memory location. Now I am changing the value and would say that are both the variables holding the same value. Run the program and check what is happening. And the result is true. That means both the variables pointing to the same location in the memory. This is basically called interning. When we initialize a variable of type string with a string object, the CRL checks invisibly for us whether this value already exists or not. If the value already exists, the new variable is simply pointed to it. If not, a new block of memory is allocated. Let's check the memory picture. Interning basically save the memory from creating duplicate strings. It can even enhance the performance of operations like comparison of two exactly same string objects. So that was memory optimization of strings. I hope you better understand now how it works. Now we will look into string immutability. In C#.NET you can work with both immutable or mutable string. Most of the times we work with immutable string. That is, create a string using system.string class. In order to create mutable string we have string builder class. Later on, in this series we will learn how to use string builder class, but not now. Let's check first, what is immutability? See how Microsoft defining the term. According to the Microsoft, string objects are immutable. They cannot be changed after they have been created. All of the string methods and C# operators that appear to modify a string actually return the results in a new string object. Okay, that is a complete definition. If you look more closely, you will see two things here. The first one is, string object cannot be changed after they have been created. And the second thing is, any attempt to modify a string actually returns a new string object. We will see both the behavior so that you get a complete picture of string immutability. Let's just create a string object. This string object is immutable. You cannot modify it. We had already made an attempt in our second part and explored it. Let's do it one more time. Let's suppose if I want to change capital H with small h, so I can write as you can see here, this operation is not acceptable because of the immutability feature. Now let's understand the second feature. That is, whenever you try to modify a string object, it results in a new string object. What does it actually mean? Check first how our string object represents itself in the memory heap. You have a string object that is hello, and reference variable is constantly pointing to it. Now, I am modifying our string object. String object is modified. According to Microsoft, any attempt to modify a string object would result in a new string object. Let's study the diagram. As we modified our string object, the CLR created a new string object somewhere in the memory, as you can see in the diagram. And our reference variable started pointing to the new location. And our previous string object destroyed from the memory via garbage collection. Let's further modify our string object. Now the memory will look like as you see in the picture. Your previous string object get destroyed via garbage collection and a new string object is formed. I hope you better understand the idea of string immutability and what happens inside the memory when you try to modify a string object. Now the question is, why the strings are immutable? And the answer is, in C# strings are implemented using character array, but without null terminator. And as you know, an array is fixed size data structure. That means they cannot be dynamically increased or decreased in size. And this is because of fixed size array. When you modify your string, you are actually trying to modify character array. That is not possible. So the CLR basically creates the new memory location for the edited string. And your previous string get removed using garbage collection. Now what are the advantages and disadvantages of immutability? Like every other thing, you have reasons to use immutable string or reasons not to use immutable string. You have an advantage like, if you are developing multi-threading system, then you actually don't need to worry about deadlock and concurrency. Another advantage is, your string object is safe. That means no other process can accidentally change your string. But there is a disadvantage as well, that is, continuously modifying strings can lead to performance issue and it can be very expensive. Let me show you an example here. Run the program. Here you see the string modified 10 times. Just relate it to our memory diagram. And imagine what happened. Our CLR worked very hard and created 10 different memory block one after another. And garbage collection called every time to get rid of unused memory block. Now just imagine, if I would have run this loop thousands of times, how costly it would have become to our system. Now the last words. Interning and immutability are most important concepts in programming. You can expect the question related to interning and immutability in your job interviews. I hope you enjoyed this video and it helped you to understand both the terms. You are now ready to watch part 7 of this string series. In part 7 we will see how to compare string objects. Thanks for watching.